What's up, folks? I'm going to be starting a group of lessons or just random tutorials on praise and worship songs for beginners and those intermediates. I just want to kind of sow into the people who watch this channel and teach them the way that I do things during praise and worship, some of the chords that I use to kind of color these songs, my approach to playing them, how I segue into other songs, just the different nuances to the way that I do some of the songs. Some I do just like the recordings, some I change up because it's easier, or some just my take on them. So today I'm gonna start with How Great Is Our God. I do want to preference this lesson by saying two things. The first thing is that I always tune my guitars down a half step. So this is E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, and E flat. So if you guys wanted to follow along, you can tune up to that. And excuse me. And I've done, and I'm continuing to do, a series of lessons on good praise and worship acoustic guitar chords that'll really kind of exploit that that really nice acoustic guitar sound, those nice ringy chords that you hear a lot of pros use, or just people who've been playing a while. You notice that they use these chords as opposed to some of the beginner chords. These are really easy chords with just a little bit of practice. I'm sure you can get them. So check those out. But without further ado, like I said, we're doing How Great Is Our God, so I'll go ahead and play through it for you once. So that was it. That song, that progression pretty much goes all the way through the song. First thing I do want to say that I'm going to be accessing the number system. And How Great Is Our God is a 1, 6, 4, 5 progression throughout the entire song. It stays with that progression. The one chord, like I said, we're in the key of G, but I'm tuned down a half step, so it'll sound like F sharp, but I'm using G chords. So the one chord is a G. The 6 chord is an E minor. The 4 chord is a C major. And the 5 is a D major. Okay, so let's start with the one chord. The one chord that I am using is this G power chord. And by power chord, I just mean it's nothing but roots and fifths of the chord. So I'm playing nothing but 1s and 5s, and they're just kind of doubled and tripled in places. So how I'm fingering this chord is on the low E string, 3rd fret, I'm playing this G note. And on the B and E strings, the high B and E strings, I'm playing this D note and this G note on the 3rd fret. So, and a couple of the things that I do, or one of the things that I do, is I hammer onto this 9, which is here, with my index finger on the 2nd fret, G string, 2nd fret. And that just kind of colors the chord a little bit with the 9. The 9 is a really good color tone because it's not harsh enough to kind of throw off someone's harmony. It doesn't stand out that much, but it does add some really nice color. So you can kind of hammer it on. So the next chord is an E minor chord, which is a 6 chord. Sounds like that. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking this very standard E minor chord, and what I'm playing is on the 2nd fret, I'm playing the E and the D strings, and on the 3rd fret, I'm anchoring my fingers down here where on the B and the E strings, and that creates this E minor 7 sound. So my 4 chord, this C major, it's actually called a C add 9, because I'm adding the 9 to the C major chord. And how I'm fingering that is, again, my the E and the B string is anchored down at the 3rd fret, and at the 3rd fret on the A string, I'm playing this C note right here, and then with my index finger, I'm playing this E note on the 2nd fret, D string, 2nd fret D string, to get that nice open sound. It's one of my favorite chords. I love this. I play it every chance I get. And last, the 5 chord is this D major chord, very, very, very standard D major. At the 2nd fret, I'm using my index and my middle finger to play the G and the E string. And right here, I'm on the 3rd fret, I'm using my ring finger to hold down the B string. And what I do with that, I went over this in lesson 3, I think, was I pull off my middle finger at the 2nd fret to get this sus2 sound. And I put my pinky down to get that sus4 sound. So I hammer on and pull off at the 3rd fret with my pinky. And I just kind of cycle those changes. So a couple of the other things that I do is going down from the 1 to the 6 chord, I throw this in. And what this is a 5/7 bass in the key of G. But what I'm really playing is a D major chord with F sharp in the bass. F sharp is the 3rd in a D major chord. So I'm just inverting the chord. I'm doing something called inverting the chord, which is rearranging the notes. And so I'm taking that standard D major chord that I just showed you, and I play the F sharp with my thumb. If you can't reach it, probably don't worry about it, but in my lessons, I do show you this chord, which is the exact same chord. I just finger it differently, and I use my index finger to get this low F sharp, just in case you can't get your thumb over. I'm not going to explain it because it's in there. Excuse me. So I'll go ahead and play that. See, it's just a quick transition. So the next one is this. Going into the 4 chord, I play pretty much the exact same chord as that D with F sharp in the bass. This is a G with B in the bass. I'm playing a 1 chord with a 3 in the bass. This B is the 3rd. It's the major 3rd in a G chord. It also coincidentally is the 3rd in the key of G, obviously. So, and all I'm doing, again, pinky and ring finger anchored at the 3rd fret, and I'm using my index finger to hit that B. And normally what I try to do is kind of accentuate that B when I'm playing the chord. So as I transition from the 6th chord, I try and do something like that just so that you can hear that 3, because it moves very lovely into this 4. And so that's the 4 chord, the 5 chord, and that's pretty much the song. So I hope this was a big help. One thing that I will say, I'll probably post a link to my website, probably like right here. And you guys check it out because I have a lot of good free stuff on my website. There's a page, it's called Free Stuff. So if you go and check it out, they're like beginner chord books and that kind of stuff. And I'm always putting new stuff on there, or I'm going to try and put a bunch of new stuff on there. So yeah, and I just, like I always say, I want you guys to remember that only what you do for the kingdom of God will last, and to always, always, always glorify God with your gifts, and glorify only Him with your gifts, no matter what your gifts are. Thanks.